Thank you for joining this session today, everyone. We are conducting this webinar on how you can accelerate business growth using Google Maps platform. And we are conducting this in collaboration with Google, where we'll be essentially talking about a location intelligence Google Maps platform pertaining to multiple industry verticals, and how you can basically help drive business growth and how you can implement various use cases in for your business in the next couple of hours, in the next couple of minutes as well. So without further ado, let's kick this off. So I'd like to quickly introduce ourselves. So my name is Pranav, and I lead the Google Maps practice for the EMEA region at Sears. And Sears is a Google Premier partner globally. And I'm also joined by Vincent Kasamajao, who is a partner sales manager for Google Maps platform as well. So with that said, I'll quickly hand it over to Vincent. Before that, I would like to cover the agenda that we have today. So we will start with a quick context setting as to why we all are here today. We'll also look into why location intelligence is important and what location intelligence is all about. We will also look at why would a business need Google Maps platform? What are some of the use cases that you could implement using Google Maps platform? Moving on, we'll also see some of the plug and play product solutions that Sears has developed in-house, which basically complement Google Maps platform and which is built on top of Google Maps platform. Later on, we'll also see some client deployments and case studies for Google Maps platform. And towards the end of the session, we will also talk a bit about what Sears is, a quick introduction of us, a quick journey of Sears with Google so far, and also talk about what kind of offerings that you would see from a partner like us. And then we'll keep the floor open for any questions and answers that you might have. All right. So with that said, I'll just hand it over to Vincent, the partner sales manager for Google Maps platform. So Vincent, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Pranav, and very pleased to be part of this marketing event with Sears. I think it's always a pleasure to work with you guys and, of course, to engage with companies in the Middle East, where innovation is super important and strategic. So really happy to go through this hour. I will have a kind of very broad introduction, but we will rapidly deep dive really in the different use cases Google Maps with Sears are currently running with a lot of companies, because really the bottom line of this webinar is to be as concrete as possible and to show you the big potential of Google Maps. And in a lot of industries, because you will see that we cover a lot of different type of businesses. Of course, the bottom line of this meeting is to highlight how location data matters more than ever. Of course, you guys evolve in a lot of different industries, but location, physical sales points, driving your customer to your sales stores, but also improving the online to offline experience have become, and especially through the pandemic, something really strategic for companies. So we will show you how we, on a daily basis, help a lot of companies to really improve the user experience and also the employee experience in a very concrete way. So maybe we can go to the next slide, Pranav, please. And I told you I will start with maybe a kind of broad introduction, and I love to start my presentation with, of course, this painting that is very famous, the Mona Lisa from Leonardo da Vinci. And I love to use it as an illustration because it's an iconic painting from a very important phase of human history. That phase of human history is called the Renaissance. And it has been a fantastic innovation moment in the human history. It started in Italy and it spread all over the world. And through, in fact, a major technical innovation, the world has totally changed. And if we go to the next slide, I think you all know the technical breakthrough we encountered at that time. It has been the printing press. So the printing press has been a new way to share and store data and to make it circulate through the world. And thanks to that technical breakthrough, in fact, we went through a massive innovation wave. And, and why I'm mentioning this? Because there is a clear reason why we are all here today. The reason, and some scientists believe that is the reason why we are all here today. And if we go to the next slide, we will discover what is this reason. In fact, a lot of scientists start to think we have started to live in what they call a second renaissance. And that second renaissance, that has a lot of similarities with the first renaissance, is again driven and really fueled by a very important technological breakthrough. And that technological breakthrough, in fact, is represented by the picture that is on the left-hand side of the slide of a German scientist. I don't know if you know that person. If someone in the public, in the audience, know the name of that person, you can ping it in the chat. I give a few seconds, but that person is considered as the first data scientist. So I will give maybe still a few seconds before giving the name of that person. So that person considered as the first data scientist is called Leibniz. And why it's important? Because that person has been the first person to build a theory around the digitalization of the world. And like I explained for the first Renaissance, that has been propelled by the printing press, we think what fueled the current second Renaissance is, of course, the digitalization of the world. And so we are building at the moment the new Mona Lisa. And you guys, in the different business you are operating, you have the freedom, the possibility, and the opportunity to build, thanks to the technologies that digitalize the world, and we will see our maps is one of them. You have a fantastic opportunity and great moment in history to build something really new and creative. And a very important point is that it's very important that you guys think on being creative, because sometimes technology can be a bit complex and people can be overwhelmed by the technology challenges. But really our role, Google and Sears, is to make any technological problems solvable, to let you be creative. A bit like Leonardo da Vinci has been creative when he painted Mona Lisa. So if we go to the next slide, please, Pranav. I really want to highlight, this great moment in history we are going through by the way Google Maps has started and is evolving. So if we look back in 2005, so only 15 years ago, if we look at this slide, this is what Google Maps was back in those days. So if you in 2005 were accessing to our service, this is what you would have seen. Simply, in fact, North America, and in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, two small islands, of course, Great Britain and Ireland. So this was Google Maps 15 years ago. And I'm pretty certain all of you know well the service, know how rich and powerful the experience is nowadays. But this was Google Maps 15 years ago. So in less than 15 years, we went through a massive wave of innovation, of investment, of scalability that really make what Google is today. So if we go to next slide, please. I was mentioning the period we are in is really unique. And that's why you guys want maybe to know how you can reshape your businesses leveraging those fantastic technologies. And and what is really impressive is the pace of innovation, how fast innovation goes, and that creates challenges because when things are going so fast, people can be puzzled. And our role is really to clarify and help you to fully assess the potential and, of course, to deliver it to your business. And if we compare the pace of innovation, I was mentioning the first Renaissance, it took something like 400 years to really have paper maps used throughout the world. It only take 15 years for digitalized location data to be used by more than 2 billion people. So pace of innovation is crazy. It's just accelerating. So we have now more and more real-time traffic data. We have millions of connected devices. We add on top of this machine learning. So the best is yet to come. And this is where Google and Sears are here to help you to fully apprehend that potential. And the purpose of today will be really to deep dive on how maps can help you on a daily basis. So if we go to the next slide, thanks, Pranav. So what is important to know is that we launch, in fact, a new way for you to leverage Google Maps. So in fact, we have maybe simplify the way you can understand our set of APIs. In fact, we have three main categories. We have APIs that are named maps. In fact, it's for you the best APIs to show something on a map. We have also a set of APIs that are called routes. It's a fantastic set of APIs for you to go to point A to point B to point C. So all the complexity around moving things, around delivering goods, all that complexity can be really, really solved through that set of APIs that is concentrated all the location intelligence Google has accumulated in the past 15 years. And the last set of APIs is called places. And it's a formidable way for you to understand what is around you, what are the special places around you. So we have a fantastic collection of what we call point of interest, something really unique that help a company to provide to your customers, to your employees, a full immersive understanding on their environment. So we have, as I mentioned, three sets of APIs: maps, routes, and places. And throughout the hour, we will illustrate the power of those APIs through concrete use cases. What is great also is that you have a new pricing that is very flexible. It's a pay-as-you-go model, so you only pay what you use. So it's a great way, in fact, for you to, of course, use our technology. And when you are in a phase where you want to try, when you want to test, I think having a very flexible way to use our technology from a price point of view is a great, I think, flexibility Google and Sears provide. So we will deep dive into the power of those APIs in the next hour. So as I mentioned, three buckets: maps, routes, and places. It's a very simple way for you to apprehend the full stack of APIs we offer. So if we go to the next slide, Pranav, please. So in a nutshell, as I mentioned, while location data is strategic to your business, any type of data has a location component. And that's why, that is the explanation why also Google has invested in a location intelligence product, is because, we are also very well known for our research engine. And our engineers, when they were developing the search engine, in fact, they were getting questions from the users about location. Because anytime you want to purchase something, anytime you want to discover a place or anything, there is a location component that you need to explore. And this is our role, to provide you the best gateway to explore your environment and to build the bridge from digital to reality. So Google Maps, and especially if you consider Street View as an example, it's a kind of bridge between digital to reality. And this is what we deliver for you. So if we go to the next slide, Pranav, please. Of course, location data, as we mentioned, is strategic. And a lot of companies want to leverage this for their customers. Also, to optimize their operations. It's more and more important, of course, to satisfy your customer by getting goods or services delivered. But there are always and also formidable ways to optimize your businesses in the way your logistic chain is organized. And also, what is important is for you to decide where you invest, because now companies have to invest in, of course, online, but also offline channels. So how do you make the trade-off? And this is where also Maps API can be really helpful, because it will give you a way to understand your world. So next slide, please, Pranav. As we mentioned, companies, of course, really need to innovate, and they want to innovate. But the main driver of this is also customers. And customers, especially through the generations now have to serve, they have totally modified the way they envision the customer experience. They want to make quick decisions. They want to be able to make decision on the go. So mobility is something really key. And they want to fully understand the context they are looking for. And this is how, by playing with Google Maps API, you can provide to those very demanding customers the experience they want. So next slide, please. Also, I mentioned the fact that you have more and more online to offline experience. In fact, the frontier between online and offline is slowly, disappearing. We are more and more both online and offline customers. I took the illustration, sorry, of video games. And video games, in fact, of course, it's a virtual experience, but that is more and more built on the real world the player knows around him. So, as I mentioned, Google Maps is a great gateway and bridge between digital to offline and vice versa. So you can play with this. And we will show you through a lot of use cases how companies are really, really doing this at the moment. Next slide, Pranav, please. As I mentioned, of course, you guys need to also fully understand the business environment you live in, and to sorry, and to do that, Places is a great asset, because we can provide you, let's say, if you want to open a new shop, if you want to open an hotel, if you want to open a new restaurant, we can really help you before taking that decision to fully apprehend the environment where you want to build and open this business. And places especially is something super precious we can offer to our customers. And of course, what is important is that you will rely on the quality of the Google data, which is also maintained by billions of users. This is also what makes Google Maps unique, is the scalability of our business and how many users are really leveraging Google Maps, both to use it, but also to enrich it. So that makes our service really, really extraordinary. So next, so I, I was mentioning, that the world is going digitalized. And when I say the world is going digitalized, we go everywhere. We go everywhere in the world to make sure if you need some information about that part of the world, you will get it from Google Maps. And those images, I think, perfectly illustrate that we can go very, very far, everywhere, on top of the mountains, in the middle of the deserts, or maybe at the bottom of the ocean. We want to get there to provide you the most precise and fresh data. So you might have already seen, of course, the street view vehicles or even the walkers, because we have people that walk when you cannot drive. So you might have met those guys in vehicles already. But it's a constant effort. It's a constant investment we make to make sure you have the best data possible. So next slide, Pranav, please. And I will hand this over to CS because we are very pleased to work with such a strategic partner as CS, because those guys, they have a great complementarity with us. They have a great technical expertise, background, and a great connection with businesses. And they help both Google and their customers to make the best out, out of those formidable APIs. And as I mentioned, we have a great global coverage. We have also an unparalleled brand consumers trust, which is super important when you want to offer something to your customers. And we have now a 15-year experience of mapping the world, which is a great challenge, great endeavor, but something we love to do on a daily basis, because thanks to that, you guys are able to create formidable innovations, incredible new ways to interact with your customers, to serve your customers. And that's a bit the bottom line of my speech. We are going through something really unique. We think, maybe I'm a bit biased because I work for Google, but we think it's a very important moment in the human history. It might be a second renaissance. We have a lot of ways to reinvent things. So that's exactly what I wish to all of you. Please be creative. Please be bold. And of course, you will come through challenges. But that's the role of Sears and Google, to help you to go through. And we do that on a daily basis. So with a great pleasure, this is an introduction maybe to a more important discussion we might have with all of you in the near future. We will be really happy to work with you in the next few weeks to know better your needs and most importantly, to make it happen. So thanks for having listened to me. I will hand this over to Pranav that will really deep dive into the expertise of Sears and how they help on a daily basis their great customers. So thanks for being here, and really happy to answer also to your questions when they happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Vincent, so much for setting the tone for rest of the session today. For rest of the folks, if you guys have any specific questions, please don't hesitate to post it on the chat section. We will try our best to address those during the course of the presentation today. So moving on to the next section. So there are three major use cases that Google Maps platform majorly works with. So first is definitely enhancing customer experience, like Vincent mentioned, driving that operational efficiency, and also help business make strategic decisions, right? And before we move further into the use cases bit, I also wanted to spend some time to help you understand how basically Google Maps APIs are structured. So on the base, you have the entire foundation of Google Maps, where you have places data, where you have directions data, you have the traffic layer integrated, and a lot more that you can do, right? On top of that, you also can build your own data like location of your company, your sales figure, data about your customers, where are they located, where's the demand coming from, and you can customize all of it, right, using distinct imagery and keywords, etc. So, and finally, you can also integrate your third-party data. For example, if you'd like to look at where the demand, look at demand from a particular area, or you can also tell on top of that, you can also add on top of that a layer of demographics, income segments, etc. So this will again give you a much better perspective of your business overall. Uh, so let's talk about the first use case, better customer experience. Now, this is critical for companies, across industries, be it retail or e-commerce business, or whether they are into financial services or logistics sectors, could be a last mile delivery company, the likes of, let's say, Amazon or DHL. So with increase in online shopping demand for the same day delivery, Google Maps platform, makes the entire process much more better for the overall experience of the user. A user can now see where the package is, what route that particular delivery agent is taking, the estimated time of arrival for the delivery, and all this is in real time, right? So this gives users more transparency in terms of the overall delivery process for a particular company, and also give them flexibility as well, right? So also using location data, you can make it easier for your users to be booked and picked by a taxi or a ride sharing company or a cab within minutes, right? Using location data, financial services company are also accelerating their KYC process by helping new users sign in and quickly verifying their addresses to improve the KYC security as well. So as you can see, it is helping a lot of industry vertical around overall customer experience. Now, moving on to the next section, we will see how do we do that, right? So Google Maps platform has an API called Places Complete API, which basically lets you capture customer addresses and real-time locations. It makes it easier for your user to enter the correct billing and shipping address. So this feature benefits include fewer keys user mistake while entering an address. Due to fewer keystrokes, it leads to higher address accuracy. You will have a better and faster checkout process. So study also suggests that after implementing autocomplete feature, there is a 24% dropout reduction and 65% faster transaction completion. Now this is really critical, right? So another great example is of there are one of the customers is of Maxida DIY Group, and they use Places autocomplete extensively, and they have seen an increase of more than 20% in the conversion rate, making the checkout process much more easier for the users as well. So this was just a quick glimpse of what this particular use cases could help you around your business. Moving on to the next use case, which is the second use case, which is to automate and optimize your operations in real time. Now with retail and logistic firm facing a lot of growing demand, and with the overall rising cost and the shortage of labor, Google Maps platform can help you by optimizing your operations in real time. With the help of your own data combined with maps location data, you can identify a particular driver's accurate location. You'll be able to identify your fleets, your assets in real time. You can also track navigations and routes your field agents or your delivery agents are taking to make sure that you are keeping your operational expenses in check. You would also be able to determine, let's say, a route condition like road restrictions or toll booth, or given route, which is significantly help you to reduce cost by optimizing by optimizing your fleet and delivery agents, right? And with that, you'd be only be able to reduce the overall spend on, let's say, your fuel, your repairs, and your overall employee cost as well. So this is another interesting use cases which a lot of companies sought out for as well. Moving on to the next slide, we will cover some of the use cases which are important to you as well. So last mile delivery becomes really important. The routing algorithm built on top of Google Maps, we take into consideration real-time traffic, which is very important for companies right now in this space of last mile, where deliveries have picked up by huge margins, given the footfall and the offline traffic is very low, given the situation that we are in, right? Now, this is really critical. Again, for folks who are involved in, let's say, the supply chain and the logistics side of things, trying to figure out where your team is, if the stores and warehouses are adequately stocked, so improving services and streamlining teams on their overall operational efficiency is something that is other use cases, which is very prominent again, where internally it helps in boosting operational efficiency. And finally, the capacity management, right? Knowing how well a particular warehouse or store is stocked, knowing where the nearest distributor is, how best to route them to ensure that you are managing your capacity in the most efficient manner possible. So again, these are some of the interesting use cases which I think would really benefit for a company who are into last mile delivery or into logistics space or into supply chain space as well. And finally, let's look at the third use case, which is to help business make strategic decisions. So companies today, deal with large volume of data, right, to analyze and make sense of it as well. So with Google Maps platform, companies can do also analyze and visualize their data on the maps, identify opportunities for further expansion of their business, see gaps in their current operations, or identify where a particular risk is from, or when they start a particular venture, what are the kind of risks, what are the kind of specific geographies they're looking at. So to give an example, we have a logistic ISV who uses Google Maps APIs and have built a very solid routing software for all sizes of fleet management companies. Now, this particular software basically helps client to make better business decisions, right? Such as how many trucks they need to buy, or how many trucks you need to operate in a given day or a time, or how many drivers they need to hire, how many and all kind of information, right, which can be identified for companies across different verticals in space. That could be a potential use case as well. uh, and next section is where Google Maps also lets you add a location intelligence component to your existing BI as well. So company, most of the companies today have their own intelligence platform where they try and analyze the overall businesses that they have. So you can also analyze your customer base by kind of creating a heat map and visual layer, and add a lot of variable component based on the data that you have. You can also leverage Google Places data to plan your future location as well. So this becomes really handy for real estate firms again to plan their location based on understanding what's around the locations, what are the nearest point of interest, what's the competitive landscape looks like, and also optimize. You can also optimize your marketing promotions and have a bird eye view to understand where your customers are based out of, and plot them in the map as well for management to make better decisions, right? The next slide that actually talks, this is a better representation of what we saw on the previous section. So as soon as you add data onto the map, you can visualize a lot of things related to population, related to sales data, heat maps on which regions are doing well, which locations you are well stocked, or where the supply chain gap is. So you'll understand a lot of things, where your competitors are. So and just build out something like an intelligent platform for you, right? So it basically helps you to build that intelligent platform for you to visualize your overall operations of a particular company or your firm. All right. So with that, we covered the use cases section. Now, moving on to the next section, we will also, what we will look at is, something that we have built in-house, some of the plug-and-play solutions that CS has built on top of Google Maps, which can be directly implemented and help you achieve quite a few use cases. So we have added some screens here, given the time we have, and also the bandwidth might be an issue, but we would love to maybe set up a follow-up call and demos where you can go deeper into these solutions. So please feel free to mention it in the feedback form that we'll be sharing on an email to you guys as well, to let you know if you guys are interested in any of these products and solution. And you can also put that in the chat section if you feel that this is something that might be of interest to you as well. Right, so the first one is route logic. So as the name suggests, it's built on a routing algorithm that will help you move most of your offline channels of sales into an online platform for managing your deliveries, right? So it's as simple as pasting a website URL and uploading your offline orders online, and just entering how many delivery agents you have, and you are able to batch orders. You are able to batch deliveries and get in return through Google Maps API. As you can see on the map, so what would be the best optimized route that the delivery agent should take on a given day, and time, and the current traffic situation. So this basically lets you it gives you the entire platform for having a much more efficient delivery mechanism, where you can batch your orders, you can create a bulk batch of orders, you can streamline deliveries of this order, and also help basically delivery agents to understand what is the most optimized route that should be taken, right, which will help you reduce that operational cost. Second one is pretty interesting, which is called Smart Store Locator. So if you haven't implemented this on your website or your mobile app, this is again a very readily available solution, ready to use solution. You can see some of these screens here are helping customer define a radius around their specific location, and then popping up which all point of sales are available nearby, and also giving them deliveries and giving them directions to each of that point. And all this again on your website itself. No need to go to Google Maps. Everything can be integrated within your platform itself. This is something which is pretty critical, given a lot of retail companies today are doing this. So this might be of interest to you guys as well. And finally, there is an HR management platform which is called Happier Track, which manages the employee life cycle from onboarding to offboarding. So helps you to know where exactly your field sales reps are. Given the current situation, you can also help them, mark their attendance remotely, and even manage their things like routing them if they have multiple deliveries to make, or sales calls. You can also see there is a meeting management module, uh, again integrated with Google Maps. So in a nutshell, it gives you the overall visibility to your field force, and essentially helps you manage that operational efficiency again. And the next section, we will look into some of the case studies and client deployments that we have done. So this is a pretty interesting one. Now, the first one is Rapido. So they are a mobile app-based taxi service operating in India. And with the help of Google Maps API, they were able to optimize their routing, their ride assigning mechanism, and also enhance the overall user experience. Now, earlier, their entire process was very much manual in nature, and it was exhausting. It was time-consuming. So Google Maps platform ensured the pickup time, between 2 to 5 minutes, which is industry standard, and helped them take more than 5 million orders per month. So this is a very interesting case study, especially in the ride sharing vertical. Next is Pneumatic. So this was the company that I was referring to in my earlier slide, which is the logistic ISV that I was talking about. So their platform helps large fleet companies offer rich map and reliable navigation to their customers. So we help them reduce their cost by up to 4% by efficiently managing and planning their delivery routes with minimum manual intervention. uh, so this is another interesting case study there. And the next one is again a fintech platform called ShowCash, which helps enable cash withdrawals from, let's say, local cafes and small store using mobile app. So basically, they wanted to centralize the internet banking services and reduce the overall bottlenecks that we see at traditional banking institutions or ATM services. So with Google Maps powerful places data, they were able to locate the nearest cash distribution vendor, and also reduce their support channels to process multiple support calls as well. So this was again pretty interesting from the financial services or the fintech side of things. The last one is the IBook Group, which is a leading online travel company. The key challenges they were facing was to ensure better traffic on their website, and a function to map, uh, accelerate the location of their hotels, point of interest. Using Google Maps platform, customers were able to locate the desired you know hotels and manage booking more efficiently. This also resulted in the improvement of their overall net promoter score and overall customer satisfaction as well. So these are some of the interesting case study that I wanted to speak about as well. So if you have any specific question, or if you want to learn, again, please happy to answer those in the course of Q&A. And if you have any specific question, please feel free to again post it on the chat section. We'll be more than happy to cover that. Uh, Again, so coming to the fag end of the session today, so we would also spend some time learning about what Sears is all about, what is the kind of journey that we had with Google so far, and also look at what are some of the offerings that you would expect from a partner like us as well. So we have been working in the IT consulting space for over 14 years now, and have been closely associated with Google for the past decade. We are headquartered in Austin, Texas. We do have presence in London and Singapore for our UK, for our EMEA and Asia Pacific businesses. The specialty mainly lies in the cloud automation and analytics space. We are one of the premier partner with Google, and have been serving for the past several years. And this partnership, like I said, is global in nature, as we partner with Google for Google Maps platform, Google Cloud platform, and also G Suite in multiple geographies. And this is the slide which will talk about the specialization partner that we have received from Google as well. So we are considered as the location-based services partner. Now, since Vincent earlier told us well, given the kind of expertise that we have, especially in the tech domain, and the area of expertise have led us to be one of the certified partner in the location-based services. We have been constantly providing better experience for our end users with the in-depth knowledge and the kind of resources that we have. We make sure that we produce faster results and help make provide better satisfaction for our end users. And again, we have repeatedly done successful implementation across multiple industries, and we are one of the go-to advisor for a lot of our customers for any specific business use cases that they might have. So just wanted to cover that. The next bit is this is a quick summary of what you would get as a part of services and support from us. So account management with a Google partner like Sears, related to usage optimization, tech and consulting workshop. Again, continuous engagement with Google as well, getting to know what's happening in the overall ecosystem. What are some of the product updates? What are some of the changes? What are some of the product new launches that has Google that has come up with Google? So we'll be able to provide you with all such information and keep you on top of the entire competition that you have. Uh, and we also do a lot of additional opportunities of joint marketing as well. So we do a lot of case studies with Google. So there is a bunch of things that we do in addition to just reselling side of things. So yeah, right from services support to account management, we do every bit. Another interesting thing is, if you are already leveraging Google Maps platform, so once your usage goes beyond a certain number, then with a partner like us, you would be also be able to get volume discount. So as a partner, we can help you achieve that volume discount as well. So we also do a lot of cost optimization sessions, usage optimization sessions, like I said, tech and consulting workshop. So consider us like a go-to consulting partner. So right from application development or custom website development, we do everything. And yeah, another important part which I missed is we offer you a designated or dedicated account manager for Maps. Once you onboard in our panel, we'll be working with you throughout your stint with Sears. And this is a quick journey slide on the journey that we had with Google so far. So, as you can see, we started way back in 2006 with G Suite engineering services, and gradually moved on over the year and started practice for G Suite, Google Cloud, and Maps. We were also one of the fastest to become the premier partner with 50 plus customers on board in the first few months itself. In the year 2018, we were recognized as the location-based partner, location specialization partner with from Google. And yeah, so these are some of the in-house solutions that we have also developed, like Happier Work, which I already walked you through. Recognic is another one which basically helps organization to digitize, store, and index documents. So yeah, this is the quick journey that we had with Google so far, and as you can see here, we were 4 times Google Partner of the Year. Just wanted to highlight this as well. And with that said, we have come to the end of the session today. Okay, thanks, Vincent. Thanks for thanks for joining us
Thanks a
there.
lot,
Yeah,
everyone.
Thank
all
you
right.
very much, Vincent and Pranav, for the
Thank
session.
you, guys.
Thanks.